don't want to do Rings of Power yet. We'll save that for later.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about this, Grant. Localization versus translation in video games. Okay, there's a big issue right now in these localization, I guess, teams and stuff that translate animes, games, from Japan into English, I guess you say. Well, they don't really just translate. What do you think they do, Grant? You think they can keep their ideologies from infesting these games?
Of course they can't. Hopefully they
No,
could,
they cannot.
but they probably don't.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So Metaphor, so Endymion, he actually hit on this. He has a video about it. If you guys haven't seen it, go check him out on YouTube. He does fantastic videos. But so anyway, they're having an issue here. So these
His name is
localizations.
pronounced Endymion.
What's that?
His name is pronounced Endymion.
What is it pronounced then?
And that's it. That's how it's pronounced.
Endymion, right?
Endymion. You said Endymion.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. My bad, buddy.
Actually, get it correct.
You talking like you've seen his YouTube videos?
Man, I'm talking like I know how to pronounce. Like I'm a linguist.
Nope.
I'm a linguist.
If I know I didn't text it to you, you haven't seen it.
I just do it like that. I can translate it just like they can. I'm a linguist.
Anyway, let's get back to this.
This is from the guy who can't pronounce the name tags on the back of cars.
I can't. Like you gotta. When I read name tags, like they can be like funny. I'm just like, what does that say? I can barely see it. All right. Anyway, so localization to translate. All right. So what do you think this is the difference is? All right. So these localization crews, what they're doing is, you think they can separate their ideological viewpoints from adding when they're just some of them they translate the game, but they also translate it way different than what the original translation is from just Japanese to English, the standard one. They kind of add a little bit too much into it. So these localizers, these groups of people that are in charge of some of these games that get put on it. Let me show you something, Grant.
All right, show me.
This is one of the localizers from Metaphor. Go ahead and read that, Grant. Okay.
Localization editor, Metaphor demo out now. Okay, nice. Localization editor at Sega. SMTVV plus Metaphor plus Pirate Yakuza. Okay.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings. Okay. Oh, I see where you want me to get to. Queer, Jewish, actually autistic, Spoony Bard. She, her.
So let me give you an example what this looks like. Now, when it comes to think about, we're about to get the Rings of Power, but think about these writers that take Tolkien's work and try to translate it into a show like Rings of Power. They try to take some of the lore. A lot of times they don't, though. And they try to inject their real world social politics, everything you think of. They try to inject that into the shows, these young writers. So this is kind of what's happening with localization. They're doing the same thing. They think they are better than the source material. They think they're way better. They know how to spin it to being a lot better. Some of them are that do legit good localization, but a lot of them cannot separate their beliefs in, I guess, our day and age, our modern day and age, the modern audience. They cannot separate that when they go and try to, I guess, translate or add things in to, make it better for Western audiences. They cannot separate that. And so what you get is a bunch of loaded crap into these translations and some of the games redesign before it hits Western audiences. And they think they're doing, I guess, great work on that. But it's the same thing as when it comes to these young writers taking beloved IP, like you can say Warhammer, you can say Dungeons and Dragons, and converting it into something that's different than what it was to fit their narrative. Or again, we go back to ideological viewpoints. They can't help themselves, and they inject it in their localization rehash, I guess you can say. So that's the big problem we have when it comes to these Eastern games coming to the West, and they get localized by these teams, these individuals that, of course, they can't separate their political beliefs from. So you have these guys that just completely redo the damn dialogue, and you see that in animes a lot too nowadays. Like when they try to redo animes and Eastern, I guess, shows and stuff like that. You see it a lot, and they do the same thing. They think they're better than the people that create it, so they end up creating something that's either complete trash or it doesn't make sense.
Can you imagine if these people were like archaeologists and they discovered new things to translate? They're like, I told you King Tut was gay. I told you.
Oh, you don't think that happens?
I'm sure it does.
You
I'm
don't think
sure it
that
could.
happens in
I'm sure it does.
archaeology when they comes?
We
Well,
found
I can
we
deep dive
found
into this.
Cleopatra's tomb, and guess what? She's a he. She's trans.
Do you know there's? Here's an example. This is actually can kind of play in it. There's a guy, I forget his name, but he provided so much evidence that could shift the timeline, ancient Egypt's timeline, just a little bit. And he provided so much evidence for this. But when he presented to this council that controls, I guess, the historical timeline, whatever they are, and when he presented this evidence to them, they denied him because no, this is it. So they even stuff that dates back to the 30s and 40s, they will not change history even with the new stuff that they discover nowadays. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I need to know who these people are because I need to go to them.
It's like a group of archaeologists, historians, or whatever that form this, I guess, type of council, and they say yay or nay when there's new evidence brought forth that could change certain things in history because we find out new things in today's, this day and age, right? Because of technology advancements, all this other stuff, better research.
I need to find these people because I'm gonna go up to them and say, like, it was all, dude. I'm gonna sit down with them like, guys, it was always the Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstain Bears. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What did you call it?
What's that?
Did you call it the Baron? Yeah, it's not. If you look at it, it says Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, when the fuck did that happen? Nope. We need to have. I need to sit down with these guys and be like, nope. Changing the timeline.
So, dude, this is the problem with these Western, I don't know what to call them, crazy asses. I mean, that's what they are. You cannot trust anything that you see that is interpreted by individuals that have that their daily lives are controlled by social, political viewpoints, right? That's all they spend their daily lives on. Like they're so ingested with this cult religion, whatever you want to call it. But you cannot trust a lot of things because they're not going a lot of times. Now, there are some very good localizers out there, localization companies that do a very good job, but a lot of them don't. So this is just going to be an issue that if it's not brought to people's attention, this is not even a mainstream issue, right? People don't think about this, like localization versus translation. Like, what's the difference? Translation is just you take the Japanese, hiragana, kanji, the voice, whatever, the speech, the dialogue, and you're just translating it directly into English without adding anything. But localizing, that's where the issue comes in. They don't really do true just translations. They change personalities. They change how the person speaks. They change all types of things. And that can change the character themselves. But sometimes and a lot of times they think, oh, well, the character's better now. It's better than the source material that made millions and millions of dollars and millions of people watch the original, Oh, we know better.
Yeah.
No, you don't, because you're not a creator.
It's like that in Spanish too. Like when I'm listening to things with my wife, in Spanish. Yes, guys, I speak Spanish. And I can understand it. It's different than what the translation shows, especially through Netflix. It's close, but they try to do some things with it. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start paying attention to it, and I'm gonna start because sometimes whenever she's always watching like, I don't know, like Ronaldo's wife, whatever stuff like things like that. She likes stuff like that. But now what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start like really like I'm gonna put it on Spanish, and I'm going to read the translations and see if if it matches. I'm gonna see if they're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right.
On the case. I'm on the
Yeah,
case
right.
now.
Carrie, yeah. Carrie says, I do Google to initially do translations. I'll ask the community to validate. No way I'm paying for a woke translation. Yeah. I mean, but that's the issue, right? And you got a lot of that going on in these
Yeah.
localization teams. But yeah, I agree, Carrie. All right. All right, Grant.
And it's Berenstain, right? Beerstein. But it wasn't Stain. I never grew up as a kid calling it that.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a very let me tell you something. This is a very important issue. You act interested when I'm talking about this.